Some stories are stitched together with invisible thread, whispers that, songs sung in kitchens, hopes folded in prayer. You don't realize you're living a miracle until you see every moment woven by a God who works behind the scenes. Being chosen isn't about being loud or brave or royal. It's about saying yes right where you are. If you'd told me a year ago I'd be Esther, I'd have laughed. But now looking back, I see every closed door was a redirection. Every dark night was God moving the pieces into place. We're all hidden in someone's story. We're all chosen for something bigger. If you ever feel unseen or unworthy, my name is Maya Santiago. I am not a queen or a hero, just a girl who loves poetry, adopted into the loudest, most beautiful family you've ever met, with more fears than answers. But this is the year God turned my world upside down and showed me I was made for such a time as this. Even now, when I hear the wind rattle the windows, I wonder about all the other miracles in motion happening on my street. Neighbors carrying grocery bags with silent prayers, the hum of a distant lullaby, the way stars blink above the city as if God himself were winking a secret. At night, I'd stare up from my bed, Abuela's prayers echoing through the walls, and I imagine the threads of my life weaving into the tapestry of millions, each thread a purpose, every knot a story. You don't get to pick your family, but sometimes if you're lucky, they pick you. I was 6 years old when the Santiagos adopted me. Abuela with her endless hugs, Mama working long hours, Dad always pulling extra shifts at work, but managed to hum old hymns over pancakes on Saturdays. My 3 siblings crowding every meal with music and wild stories. Our house is chaos. Hot sauce at breakfast, board games every Sunday, prayer candles burning in every window. I'm quieter, lighter-skinned, the reader among dancers, the note-taker at the noisy table. But when Abuela tucks me in with Psalm 139, "You are fearfully and wonderfully made. I believe I'm chosen." The Santiago house always smelled of cinnamon beans and dreams. Sometimes I'd listen at the door as Mama called distant relatives, her laughter turning to tears and back again. Every Saturday, we would sweep the porch together and Dad would whistle a hymn that seemed to stitch the sunlight into our mornings. Even the cracks in our kitchen table had stories. Scars from spilled salsa, dents from domino games, the ink stains where I'd pressed my poems too hard. My favorite place is the school library. It's where words hush the world's noise, where I write poems and secret prayers. I don't talk much in class, but I tell my story in 100 journal pages. One afternoon, I hear the librarian whisper, "If the Santiagos can't pay the rent, Maya may need to move." Panic flickers. I am not a foster, but being adopted, I did wonder what would happen if things ever went bad. Would they abandon me? Foster kids know. 1 bad month and you're out. I spend lunch hiding in the poetry section, writing letters to God I'm not sure he'll answer. The library was my chapel, my hiding place, my window to worlds where girls like me could slay giants and rescue kingdoms. I made friends with the dust motes in the sunbeams and the shy librarian Mrs. K, who pretended not to notice when I cried between the stacks. Some days, when the news was heavy, I pressed my hands to the spines of books and imagined I could feel the prayers of every lonely reader before me, stacked up like invisible scaffolding for my soul. That week, a new student arrives. Young-Hoo. He's quiet, sharp-eyed, always tinkering with a laptop in the cafeteria. People say his family fled Vietnam years ago, starting over with nothing. Rumor is Young's father is still missing. and he codes games late into the night to cope. Young doesn't talk to anyone, but I see him slip a wrapped sandwich to a kid sitting alone. We don't speak. Not yet. Sometimes I watched him from afar, and his fingers dancing across keys, his eyes tracking movement like he was mapping escape routes. One afternoon, I noticed a comic tucked inside his math book. Heroes and hackers, all outcasts with secret powers. He never raised his hand, but I could tell. His silence was full of story. In the cafeteria where I never quite felt at home, seeing him offer kindness in secret was like spotting a lighthouse in the fog. In English, we read Esther, orphan, hidden, terrified, chosen to risk everything for her people. Esther hides her truth, steps up when no one else dares. Our teacher, Mrs. DeLuca, says, "Maybe you're here for such a time as this." I want to believe it, but I'm just Maya, too shy to raise my hand, too afraid to lose the only family I've known. I scribbled, "For such a time as this," in the margin of my notebook, circling it 3 times. Later, I'd stare at that circle, wondering what it meant for a girl whose voice rarely reached past the first row. That night, while the family played dominoes, I slipped away to read the story again, underlining Esther's quiet bravery and the moments she cried alone in her chamber before facing the king. If God could use her, could he use me? Abuela decides we need a feast of hope, una fiesta de esperanza, a celebration when things look worst. Mama is exhausted, Dad's second job hours get cut, everyone is stretched thin. My little brother invites Yong-hoo, who arrives clutching a homemade cake. His mother's recipe, he said. The lights flicker, unpaid bill, but the table glows with laughter and song. Abuela tells the story of Esther, how a simple meal saved a nation. Yong-hoo sits next to me, quiet at first, then showing me his sketchbook, full of cityscapes and secret prayers in binary. Hope is like code. He shrugs. You write it, even when it crashes. That night, the table overflowed with borrowed chairs and borrowed hope. Cousins and neighbors squeezed in, each bringing something small, spoonfuls of rice, 1 apple sliced into many. A song hummed beneath the clatter of forks. When the power nearly failed, Mama just lit another candle, just in case. For a moment, I felt as if the darkness outside couldn't touch us, as if we were shielded by invisible angels and the warmth of a God who loved feasts in the valley. Yong-hoo's presence, once an oddity, became a thread in our patchwork family for the night. After dinner, I find Yong-hoo outside watching the stars. He confides, "Some nights I dream my dad will call. Some nights I just want to run away, and instead I code." I tell him. Even Esther felt alone in the palace, but God saw her there. He nods. My mom says, God speaks loudest in silence, but I wish he'd shout sometimes. We sit on the steps, not talking, just being. A cool breeze rattled the prayer flags on our porch as we sat together in the hush after the feast. I could hear my siblings' laughter trickling out through an open window, and for a moment, the ache in Yong-hoo's voice mirrored my own. Stars pressed close, indifferent, and yet somehow reassuring. When we fell silent, it was the best kind. Friendship that didn't need to fill every space. A week later, the eviction notice arrives. Mama cries in her room. Dad prays in the hallway. Abuela's health declines. She is stressed. Her hands shake more than usual. At school, Yong-hoo gets detention for hacking the Wi-Fi, but only because he set up a website for students to share needs anonymously. He tells me, if nobody knows you're struggling, how will anyone help? The days became heavy, the air in our house thick with worry and whispered prayers. I wrote poems I never finished, folded paper cranes, watched shadows drift across the living room. Abuela's rosary clacked quietly as she prayed for la provisión. Provision, she said. And at school, it was Yong-Hoo who reminded me that help sometimes comes in unexpected forms. An anonymous post, a sandwich slipped into a backpack, a stubborn kindness that won't take no for an answer. Desperate, I find a grant for teens making a difference. I almost don't apply. Who am I to hope for miracles? But Yong-Hoo helps me write the application. He builds a website for our family's Feast of Hope project. Neighbors can donate, share stories, find courage. He calls it the Esther Project. Sometimes coding is just making space for someone else's story, he says. We press send. Abuela prays. I am trying to not lose hope. We worked late into the night, illuminated by screens. Yong-Hoo's fingers flew across the keyboard, translating my nervous scribbles into digital invitations. When the site went live, I watched as messages trickled in. Notes of encouragement, tiny donations, strangers promising prayers. Abuela's candles flickered on the table beside us, each one a witness to our leap of faith. For days, nothing happens. I pray, then doubt, then pray again. I reread Esther. God's name isn't written, but every page trembles with his presence. Yong-Hoo shows me a new code. Every line spells a Bible verse backwards, hidden in the pixels. Sometimes faith is a secret code. He grins. You only see it when you look close. Those days stretched like a winter sky, full of waiting and wondering. I checked the email 100 times, paced the house, wrote more letters to God. Yong-Hoo and I snuck hope to each other in the form of code and sticky notes, little reminders that God's hand moves even when we don't see it. At night, I pressed my ear to Abuela's door, letting her prayers wash over my doubt. Yong-Hoo's mother works nights at a bakery, sends money home to help family in Vietnam. When I visit, she greets me with jasmine tea and gentle questions, pressing a lucky coin into my palm. God always makes a way, even when we see no road. Yong-Hoo confides, she's the bravest person I know. She tells me, you don't have to be seen by everyone, just by God. The Tran apartment was small but overflowing with warmth and old photos. Yong-Hoo's mother filled the kitchen with stories as sweet as her baking. I watched as she rolled dough and whispered prayers, blessing every loaf before it left the oven. Her faith was quiet but fierce, and in her kitchen, I felt the boundaries of family stretch to include me. Oh, one afternoon, the phone rings. We win the grant. Enough to help me in school and pay the rent for several months, keep the lights on, help Abuela afford medicine. The town paper runs a story, Teens. Esther Project brings hope. Donations pour in, groceries, notes, hugs. At the next Feast of Hope, Yong-Hoo's mother cooks pho for everyone. Neighbors bring tamales and flan. Dad plays his guitar. Abuela sings. Yong-Hoo and I read poems. Kids laugh. New families came to support. For the first time, I see my story as part of something bigger, a tapestry God began long before I was born. When word spread, our door became a revolving blessing. Bags of groceries, notes taped to the porch, offers of help from people we barely knew. That Feast of Hope grew to fill not just our home, but the whole block. Candles flickered on porches, strangers became friends, laughter and music spilled into the night. I saw Yong-Hoo's face light up as his mother's soup became the centerpiece of the meal, as his kindness built new bridges of belonging. For the first time, I felt what Esther must have, part of a story much larger, held in hands much bigger than my own. Sometimes, late at night, I take out my journal and reread the prayers, the code, the poems that filled my hardest year. I see the signatures of God in every page. The way one accident led to a miracle, the way one quiet voice made a symphony. Abuela says God's handwriting is always in cursive, easy to miss if you don't slow down to look. Now, I slow down. I see the thread. I say yes.